Hello, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Captain's Lifestyle Podcast. I am your host, Taylor Morgan, also known as Captain Morgan. So, as this is a new podcast, and many of you might not know me, this episode will consist of a little background information about myself, as well as why I started this podcast. And if you stay tuned till the very end, I have a pretty big announcement. So first, let's get into my story. I grew up in Northern California, a town called Lodi, where I went to high school, played baseball all my life. Once I graduated, took about a year off, just playing baseball, going to CrossFit, just pretty much doing whatever I wanted, no obligations. I decided it was time to make a change. I wanted to serve my country, so I joined the United States Marine Corps. During my 4-year enlistment, I spent most of the time at Camp Pendleton, California, deployed to Okinawa, Japan, as well as South Korea. Got my CrossFit Level 1 in 2016, and I started coaching at CrossFit Dana Point in 2017. Let me backtrack a little bit. I would end up missing my second deployment in the Marine Corps, and we'll get into that a little bit later. I was a pretty heavy drinker, as with most Marines, not in Marine Corps standards, but in regular society standards. One particular weekend, I was at a beach house party with some CrossFit friends. I was already wasted at the end of the night, and I decided to take a hit from my friend's weed pen. I think this was only like the second time I had tried weed. The first time was like an edible, so I didn't really know what to expect. It's the end of the night, like 2 a.m. I'm trying to drive home as usual. I would drink and drive a lot, which is horrible. Don't ever drink and drive. Thankfully, my friend tried to put me to bed, took my keys from me, but I wasn't having it. I snuck downstairs, grabbed my keys, crawled out the front door, no shoes on, and proceeded to walk the approximately mile back to my car. During that walk, I decided it would be a good idea to climb houses. So that's what I did. I got up onto the ledging of these houses, and I would like kind of climb around the sides. I came to one house, and there was a window unlocked. I was like, huh. So I opened it, climbed in their bathroom window. I'm in their house now, walk down this short little hallway, and I see a dog. I was like, oh shit, please don't bark. Just a little dog, and thankfully he stayed quiet. And then I continued to walk into what looked like a girl's room. The light was on, nobody was in it. And then I noticed like a second little sub room. So I walked up there, and this time there was a girl sleeping, and I was just like standing there watching her, and she woke up and looked at me, rubbed the sleep out of her eyes, trying to figure out if this was a dream or not, and was like, who are you? And I was like, oh, we met at a party. And she's like, when? I was like, tonight. She's like, no. I was like, oh yeah, it was last night. She's like, no, I didn't go to any parties. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just leave then. And she's like, wait, like, I don't know who you are. I'm going to call the police. I was like, no, that's okay. Like, I'll just get out of here. And so I walked back out the same way I came, went out through their bathroom window, hopped down onto the sidewalk, and started booking it back to my car. On the way, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back and apologize to her. But I'm going to get there via rooftop. So this time, I climbed up onto the roofs of the beach houses and was jumping from rooftop to rooftop. I wouldn't end up making it back to her house. As I would jump, I would land, and the shingles would break and shatter, slide down. Huge ruckus at like 2:30 in the morning. I can't imagine what the people inside were thinking. Like a meteor shower or something's going on. Or there's just a crazy drunk person jumping on your roof. So I came to this one gap that was pretty substantial, but at this point I was like, you know what, this is a fucking dream. Like, nothing can hurt me. It doesn't even matter what I do. So I went for it, and I landed it on the other side on the roof. But when I landed, it was like a pop, And I was like, oh shit, that's not good. So that kind of sobered me up a little bit. I realized that this in fact was not a dream and that this was real life, and I messed up my ankle. So I lowered myself down to their stairs, walked out their backyard, back to the sidewalk, and proceeded to hobble the rest of like the half mile back to my car. Past the security guard, who honestly had no business guarding anything. Goofy fella tried to start a conversation with me. I was not having it. I just wanted to leave. I had had a rough night. I don't know why he didn't start to question me more. I was wearing nice clothes, but no shoes. I was clearly under the influence, and I was limping. So at like 2:30 in the morning. So I don't know why that didn't raise more suspicion in his brain. But regardless, I made it and woke up around 7:30 in my car, my ankle throbbing. It was my right ankle. And then I had to drive myself back to base using only my left foot, which was interesting. And I would continue to try to walk on it for the next 2 days, hoping that it was just like a sprain or something and it would go away. It did not go away. And so my mom was just like, you know what, Taylor, stop being stupid. Go see the doctor. And I was like, okay, I'll listen. So I went to the doctor, and the x-ray showed, sure enough, I had broken my ankle. Lower fibula, so right above the ankle bone. And so that is why I would miss my second deployment to the Middle East, which was disappointing for me, very disappointing. But I soon realized that there was nothing that could be done. So I could either make the most of my time, or I could drink my sorrows away, feeling sorry for myself. So I chose to be productive with my time. When they left for deployment, I was left behind. And when you have a broken ankle in the Marine Corps, they don't really want you to do much. So I was just sitting in my room. I was like, I need to do something. So I started reading. I had always despised reading. I don't think I ever read a book in middle school or high school all the way through. But thankfully, I began to see the benefits of it. I think my first book was The Champion's Mind. And then I read Mindset by Carol Dweck. Fantastic book. So those are my first two. I also replaced music with educational podcasts, things that would help me in coaching, a lot about nutrition and training, stuff like that. I signed up for some online college courses to get some prerequisites out of the way, and I would start training more in the gym. I was determined to lose as little muscle as possible, just trying to make the best of it. So with a cast on my right foot, I would still train legs, like I would do single leg rowing. I would just pull a second rower up next to me, put my cast on that rower, and just row with one leg. Also, a lot of banded exercises, things like adduction, abduction, flexion, extension of the hip, all that kind of stuff. I would also train my upper body weaknesses, things like handstand push-ups, ring and bar muscle-ups, handstand walking. It's actually when I taught myself how to handstand walk, I figured if I can't walk on my feet, I might as well learn to walk on my hands. Basically, my whole mindset shifted. I was trying to maximize all of my time and become the best possible version of myself that I could. I also quit drinking, like completely. That New Year's, I resolved to not drink for the entire year, and it's been like a year and 4 months now, so still going strong. I definitely miss it, going out having a drink with some friends, but now that I realize the profound health impacts that it has on your sleep, recovery, all that kind of stuff, I just don't think it's worth it. So this brings me to why I started the Captain's Lifestyle. I just want to help as many people as I can in similar situations, or just people who want to maximize themselves, become the best possible versions of themselves, people who want to take control of their life, live the Captain's Lifestyle. So that's a lot of what this podcast is going to consist of. Basically, anything that you can do to better yourself in the categories of health, wellness, fitness, nutrition, sleep recovery, mindset, all that type of stuff. So if that sounds appealing to you, then subscribe and follow along. If not, I'm sorry. You are going to remain the same your entire life. And that's not what we're about here. We are constantly striving to improve. So you've made it to the end. Now for the big announcement. As I stated before, I'm currently coaching in Dana Point. But as of April, I will be moving to Saudi Arabia to coach at a brand new gym there called Lionizer CrossFit. And that's another reason why I wanted to create this podcast as well as the Captain's Lifestyle, because now I won't necessarily be able to train you in person unless you live in Saudi Arabia. So I created the Captain's Lifestyle to provide online coaching to people who want help, and also the Captain's Lifestyle podcast, just to convey all the knowledge that I have out to the world and the knowledge of guests that I'll be having on the show out to the world. So there you have it. A little bit about me, my story, what I hope to achieve with this podcast and the Captain's Lifestyle. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening. And I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like some more information on the Captain's Lifestyle, head over to thecaptainslifestyle.com. That's thecaptainslifestyle.com. Or follow me on Instagram at 6CaptainMorgan9. 6CaptainMorgan9. That's right. You heard correctly. All right. Thank you so much, and live the Captain's Lifestyle.